what was the one moment in your life you saw something and thought, I want to replicate it, I want to go for it?
I think the item I'm still waiting to replicate it is the Sixth Doctor coat. It's quite iconic. You could say to a lot of people who aren't fans of the series, and you say, well, do you remember Colin Baker in the 80s and the colour coat? They go, oh yeah, of course. And they recognise it immediately because it was so different to not just the series but to anything before, but within the confines of a regular frock coat cut and design. So I'm lucky enough to have a pattern, so at some point when I've got time I will start to work on that.
Well, I've got two dream costumes I want to do. I want to do the Keaton bat suit from probably the Flash or the '92 film, because I think that would be very interesting bat suit to do. And the other one is probably Iron Man. But the thing about these two suits is they cost a fortune, especially the Iron Man suit, because I've been looking at things and people want thousands of pounds for these cool, don't get me wrong, they're cool Iron Man suits for thousands of pounds, and that's not in my budget. I mean, I did see a foam one going for 100, but that sold out, of course, instantly. But it's you see these cool cosplayers on Instagram with these Iron Man suits or bat suits, and you're just wow, I want to do that. I mean, hopefully in the future, if I get a good job and, a house to store these costumes, because the room is required for these. I mean, hopefully I can get an Iron Man suit or a Keaton bat suit, because I do have an idea of having one on a mannequin in the corner, for if I visit, and I could just be wow, that's a cool Iron Man suit or something. So yeah, hopefully in the future I get to do it, but at the moment it's definitely not in my budget at all.
Yeah, I think it's so important to share knowledge, to share those experiences and how to make those things. And the sewing patterns I do quite often have a nod to Doctor Who in them. It's not always obvious, and most people just see it, hopefully, as a really nice thing. Though other people will think, oh, that's the shirt from this particular season, or whatever it might be. So it's sharing the knowledge. It's so important to do that. You could keep it top secret and to yourself, but there's the risk that that information will get lost. If we're talking costume commissions, then and if you're lucky enough, like I have been, to research some of the original garments, depending on who owns it, some of them are very happy to share that knowledge, and for me to share that knowledge of how to recreate it. And that's how you can keep these things alive. The costumes from the original series won't be around forever. There'll come a point, you're coming up, you want to come on up. The costumes will deteriorate, get lost, they'll fall to bits. They'll end up carved up into little tiny 1-inch squares and shoved in a piece of perspex for people to collect, and then it's gone. And if you don't record how it was made and the pattern shape so it can be recreated, then you've lost something really special. You can't go back to Angel, the costumiers, or the BBC to get the pattern. They don't exist. They didn't keep them. Angels, unfortunately, had a massive fire years ago and lost all their patterns. Angels, for example, made Tom Baker's season 18 coat, and they don't have the pattern for that anymore because they got lost in the fire. I was able to study that recently as well, so to be able to study it and record it, I think is so important.
I mean, again, the season 18 coat was a work of art. I know you own your own version of it, and that Mark, if I remember correctly, on Facebook owns the original.
Yeah.
Which I've got to say, for a replica that was done, that you studied, it's such an amazing job.
I did mine through guesswork. I was doing, this is a year ago now, and I was doing a sewing show, like a sewing expo at the NEC, and they asked if I would do a display of my Doctor Who costumes that I've made in the foyer, and I had to borrow some back from my clients. And that particular costume, I had the knee breeches, the shirt, the waistcoat, and a scarf. But that was it. I thought, I'm missing a coat. I could do what I've got, but people might not make the connection. So I thought, I'm going to have to make the coat, aren't I? So I found some fabric. It's not quite the right colour, but I got it. By the time I got it, I was a bit cross. It wasn't the colour I thought it was online, which is the way with these things. Sometimes I thought, I'll just go with it. I haven't got time to and I eyeballed it, essentially. Did it really quickly. And I enjoy it. I actually, although at the time I was frustrated it wasn't closer, and I feel I could have made it closer if I gave myself more time perhaps. I actually like now the fact that it isn't an exact copy, that it kind of just has a nod to it in certain areas, and I love wearing it anyway. I wear it virtually every day, particularly at the moment as it's colder. But there are plans to make something that's more accurate, something we've been working. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to study it. It is up close and personal. It is a beautiful and very heavy and spectacular coat. Mark actually bought it, being told it was the Madame Tussauds costume from about 1981-82. Mark knows June Hudson, the original designer. Showed it to her and she confirmed there was no replica costume for Madame Tussauds. There wasn't the money to make it. So the Tussauds was wearing the original costume. So Mark ended up buying the original without even knowing it.
That's amazing. Now, what are your thoughts on customization within costumes? Like, obviously, to get to variations of the same outfits, to say, maybe you want to take a 10th Doctor's brown suit and tear it up to look how it is at the end of time. What's your thought on that? Have you done something like that?
My thoughts on that is, well, number one, go for it if you want to, because not many people do that variant. It's usually like the Waggedy Doctor, but the things I've seen from people that get like a Bowen boutique, which is like hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a suit, and they're like, oh, let's whip it up. It's like, no, don't do that. Get like one off eBay or something, do that. Yes, they probably have grey lines, but you know who it's meant to be, and plus it's cheaper, and you're not on your mind, you're not like, oh God, I've just destroyed hundreds of pounds suit. But yeah, I've done something like that. I mean, I've converted a 5th Doctor coat into his Caves of Androzani battered, muddy look. Like I said, that was an old one I've had for a long time. After that I got like a new one. So I was like, you know, that's lying around, I might as well do it, because not many people go for that variant. And I think, you know, it's also in your creativity. You know, you've painted it, you've customised it, and I think, you know, that's pretty good. But like I say, don't customise a foul. Like, I bet I've probably seen, that's another one, I think I've seen a Captain America like customise his shield to be the Endgame one, and they probably like spent like hundreds on it, and it's like, there's people who do it for you already, because I've seen on Etsy, there's people who make the damaged cap shield, and it's like, just buying one of them, you know, you don't have to spend. But for other things, like, you know, if there's a product which isn't out there, which I've seen people make, like like a Bucky Barnes arm from like Thunderbolts or something. I've seen people do that with like, I think it's like a cloth sleeve they made. It's very good. And I think, you know, that's, you know, creativity is all for, but like I say, don't spend like hundreds on something you're going to break.